Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie. Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie.
Well, hello everybody. I think that was probably the best part of this stream, just to warn you. I got DM'd that rather banging tune by one of my legendary followers, which was a great way to start the weekend. Explaining it to my wife was a bit difficult in terms of someone's written a song about me. But yeah, how's everyone doing? We all bullish, bearish, living like kings and queens, basking in our profits from the Powell pivot. Bearish. Oof. How do you get these lines on TV? I drew them, mate, every single one. Takes a while, but you get used to it. Enjoying all the shit posts. TP'd over the weekend, yeah, smart. Bearish long term. Yeah, I like that. Bullish. Mayonnaise Monkey is balls deep. Mayonnaise Monkey, you fully deployed.
There's no second best crypto asset.
Pelosi really smashed the market. Has your wife ever seen one liquidation emails and thought you'd subscribe to a porno? No. For a start, I don't think I've ever been liquidated. Which seems like a ridiculous claim, but it just actually means I'm a massive pussy when it comes to trading. Massive pussy. I just... You guys make this all worthwhile. Stop capping. We bussing, no cap, for real, for real. Unfollowed. Yeah, I think I've lost. I mean, I suppose technically I have been liquidated because I was faffing around with reducing margin in a position, and I like took 99% of it off, and then got technically liquidated. But I've never blown up an account because yeah, I'm literally too much of a pussy. But anyway, let's start off with the usual. This stream is sponsored by the legends at Delta Exchange. So if you want to go and be less of a pussy than me and buy some deep out of the money options and turn small amounts into big amounts, then there is a link somewhere below. Plenty of people have done it. Not myself, not yet. Cross margin and no stops, only trading. Let's go. Hey Lowen, how's it going? Yeah, man, I'm good. Hope you're good too. You missed the song. You missed the stream intro, but I might put it on halfway through when I have a little sip of coffee. So yeah, I mean, everyone's a bit of a mix in the chat in terms of bearish, bullish, all that kind of wonderful stuff. I mean, I think I've said it a billion times that, long term, as in years, I'm bullish on crypto. Medium term, bearish. I still think, how far this nice little rally goes, completely unsure. But it's pretty undeniable that we are in a macro downtrend. It doesn't really matter how you want to, colour it. Whether you use EMAs, whether you use high time frame market structures, this is a nice little reversal, and it has been wonderful if you've been playing certain altcoins. Good morning with the coffee. But gun to my head, is this the generational bottom for BTC, ETH, and general crypto? No. Do I think that we had, a massive advancement on that bearish trend due to essentially every piss-poorly managed fund getting liquidated and forced selling, etc., down here? Yeah, probably. There's been some nice relief, driven from Powell's recent statement, but I don't think too much has changed broadly. Am I long or short right now? I mean, technically I'm short. Nice music, thanks. Yeah, but I mean, I've only got one position open right now, so my prior positions were, I think we memed this, I'll delete this generational short entry because it was actually to do with up here. So and this kind of follows on from being a pussy, I was short from up here, 24,100. I hedged down here at 21 something or other, and held both, and said I'll see what comes out of FOMC and Powell's speech. And during this period, i.e. probably the best trading period of the last month or so, I took a trip glamping, which I would not recommend to anybody. And so missed most of the move, and just essentially locked in this profit from the short.
There is no second best.
Literally locked that in down to there, and that was it. And I missed quite a few lovely alt rotation plays through this area, and I haven't touched BTC again. What I have touched is Ape this morning. I'll talk you through a trade that I took and my thought process behind it, because it will give you a good indication of sort of how I do trade these markets. But for me, right now, I don't particularly want to touch BTC. ETH has been much cleaner in terms of higher time frame level. I think last time we talked about this nice structure. If we can close above 1700, 1730 and start getting back into this area up here, then we should see a nice another leg of that kind of alt rotation cycle. So I've talked about it before, where you sort of see, alts doing this, and when basically every alt starts flying compared to BTC on spaghetti. Zoom out a little bit. That's probably when everyone is balls to the wall, risk on, and that's where you really want to start thinking about getting out of positions. Now, we have actually had quite a lot of that, as you would have seen, from different alts. Some have been more standout than others. I think OP was a good one. I think everyone on Twitter got, apart from me. You're not a cat. No, I'm not a cat. OP. Yeah, I mean, I OP, but let's have a peep. Oh, it is on my list. It's not even on my watch list, see, that's quite a few people were balls deep on this. Afternoon, got chats popping off. Hello. Yeah, bad timing, it does happen. You know, you gotta live life. Like, it's summer holidays, my daughter's off for 6 weeks, which is time that you just kind of don't get back. And she's at school normally, so it's quite important for me to kind of balance that spending time on the charts and at the trading desk. Well, I say trading desk, it's more like a shitty office with various used coffee cups sat around, and really balancing, your time effectively. That's one thing I've been trying to do a little bit more, particularly this year, because last year I probably didn't balance my time that well, if I'm being brutally honest, and that was largely because the conditions were wild. Like, these conditions the last couple of weeks have been good, obviously, but I wasn't about to go away for a few days on holiday with my family and be like, right, I'm focusing on the market. Money will be there, like, as long as the market is moving, there's opportunity. So, make the most of it while you're away. Shitty office. Yeah, it's a bit shitty. It's not great. But, I was trying to build my own one, but long and short of it is the house we own, it's a little bit complex in terms of planning permission. But anyway, you probably didn't tune in to hear shit about that. But yeah, I mean, ETH for me is just in, quite a bearish position. If we've rejected off that and we are going to start a descent, then there's basically one level that I'm looking at for a potential long, and I'm not just going to blind bid this level. People who've tuned into streams before will know that what I'm looking at is divergences down here, some form of momentum div. Obviously this is not a div, but actually on a lower time frame, let's say 15 minute, it's not horrific right now in terms of RSI. Bosch, pseudo supported by AO, so in theory you'd want at least another bar to confirm it. I would have preferred that to happen down here, essentially just flip this, but yeah, we'll see. I'm playing rotations on altcoins on an intraday basis again, i.e. my little cheap hooker strategy. I think we're at a bad place to be holding swing longs. I don't think this is a bad place to take a swing short if you really wanted to, you wanted to be particularly aggressive. But you are fighting the recent trend, and personally I don't have a strong signal on ETH yet. So yeah, I can't really short it, even though it is the position that I would want to be in. But if we start getting signs of strength down here, then I'm quite happy to open a long that looks something sort of similar to this, and expect an impulse, just for a small trade. If we get a nice impulse above, just take profit quickly, expect a retest, potentially buy again, and ride it. But what I've been excuse me, Christ almighty, sorry, I'm partly hungover today. It's a British tradition, I think, to be hungover on a Monday. But part of the trade I took this morning was ape, and ape was simply very, very strong on, let's have a peek, on lower time frames. So where are we? So I got up around here. So I've essentially missed quite a large move on FLM. Usually when you start seeing something like this, you know, strength leading into strength, it's something that I preach and talk about all the time. You know, it's quite hard to jump on board something that's, you know, 12-13% up and relatively low liquidity compared to others. So I've made a conscious decision to kind of pass on FLM, which evidently wasn't the right choice, but hopefully you can see here from Spaghetti just quite how easy it is to identify the very, very strong in-play coins. Anyway, taking that off, the trade that I did take was later on. So when I got up, I started to see that ape was starting to gain a nice bit of momentum, and I took a long, and I got stopped out around about here. Let's have a peep. Lower time frames. So really simple trade thesis. You know, gaining strength on lower time frames, build up a position essentially around here. As we broke out from this, you know, quite just low time frame pivot, I guess. You've got, you know, let's draw that. What is wrong with my aim these days? I'm so old. Sorry guys. Boomer Charlie, missing the easy drawing. You know, nice rejections, rejection, blast through, flip, you know, strong move through, etc., etc. We'll ignore that one because it doesn't fit my bias. The classic reject, again. You know, it reacts to this 684 level quite a lot. So when I saw the strength and when I saw volume being pushed in, it was a long in here. It was an add, and then it was gradually get stopped out. Is it still hot here? The only thing that's hot is, I would say, my trading, but it's not been today. Nice work, humble. Well, hungover on a Monday, I haven't been that since working nightclubs. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those where we went somewhere at like 3 o'clock and kind of didn't envisage staying, and then we ended up staying till basically midnight, and that was the day basically gone. Like 15 beers later, you're thinking, yeah, this is probably longer than I intended. And I just want to keep the routine of Monday is my day to plan for the week, set some levels, set some alerts, so that when I do trade, what I'm actually doing is I'm just getting a notification on my phone going, right, it's X coin is at Y level, or there is a div on this setup, or whatever it might be, and then I can literally make a trade decision there and then. You know, I don't have to fuck around and sit here all day in an office by myself watching charts. Like, it just doesn't, it's just non-productive. So filtering those signals, and it is something else that I'm working on to try and filter signals, you know, even more effectively, just to manage my time a bit better, really, because it is summer. You know, the whole meme of touch grass and do all that kind of stuff, you know, 2 years ago we couldn't do it, we were all locked down because of bloody COVID. So I kind of expect at this point in time people to take a little bit more advantage of that, you know, real life. But that's at least what I'm trying to do. And, you know, I missed out on 3 of the best trading days of the year, just as I missed out on 2 of the best trading days of the year when I went to see Michael Bublé. And that's fine. That's part and parcel, right? You miss trades every fucking day. Every fucking day. My touch grass time is slowing down. What do you mean? Thanks for the stream. What's the horizontal volume on the side? It's just VPVR. Or VRVP. Bit of a dyslexic moment. There you go. I don't use this hugely. It just gives me a little bit of confidence in terms of drawing levels. So, yeah. Let's take all this shit off, shall we? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people use it much more. Magus, for example, uses it in a much better way than I do. And proper volume profile, etc. Been touching grounds the last 2 months, I mean. Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people have been doing in these conditions, you know. The last few days have been incredible to trade. And one question that I got was, why do you say they're incredible to trade? And the answer really is kind of this. You know, you load spaghetti up and everything's just flying. Everything is risk on. We had so many breakout plays, which breakout plays generally only work in fairly risk on conditions. And when you've got breakout plays that are consistently paying out, you know, that's when conditions are good, and you can put it down to a Powell pivot and whatever else you want to, if that makes you feel better, to justify it. But, you know, do you need to do that? Well, not really. You just look at charts. Charts are the collective view of the market reflected back to you by their actions, or rather by the actions of participants. So, what notifications do you use via Telegram? I do have a couple of Telegram bots that I monitor that are friends, things that friends have coded. And for TradingView, it's as simple as just going, like, let's say I was interested, like, let's say on Ape. Look at that wonderful squiggle, the amount of squiggles. Okay, now I'll just remove all this shit. Let's say on Ape, you know, low time frame, I'm a diagonal meme line trader, and I'm just going to do diagonal meme line and this SR line. So we're going to do whatever the hell that's called, a bullish ascending wedge or some shite. And I'm interested in my first position being a break of this, so I'll just add an alert to that. And my second ad for a short being a break of that, so just add an alert. And again, you can send it to Discord, you can get it to pump notifications into a Discord that either you have notifications on your phone, etc. You can get it to directly send signals to your phone, email, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's just very, very handy. And then, you know, I'm not worried about if price does X, Y, Z. Maybe I've got another one up here. So I'm essentially just saying I'm only interested when price either gets here, here, or here. And that's it. Everything else I don't give a fuck about. Like, it can do this for 6 days if it wants to. But the only time I'm looking at a chart, assuming I'm awake, is the other point, is when one of these alerts are firing off. And some people, what I said to one of my friends was, who's just started trading, was try to focus on one single chart, one single asset, and one way of trading, because he's trying to go from order flow to EMAs to Ichimoku to fucking moon cycles and all this kind of stuff. And if you can come up with a system, doesn't matter what the system is, whether it's EMAs, whether it's SR flips, whether it's momentum based, whether it is order flow, you know, if you can come up with a system that you can then say, well, I'm interested in, let's do EMAs, because EMAs is always a nice one. I'm interested in 4-hour EMA flips. That's all I'm interested in, that's all I give a fuck about. So you can create alerts that just say, have a look at your PC here, 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 here. So, you know, over the last few weeks, you've got only a few signals, right? And that's probably because the market is, you know, EMAs and trend following works particularly well on trending coins, and when the market is actually moving consistently in one direction, you know, not range bound and getting chopped up, which, you know, is hard to establish whether we are doing that or whether we are not, generally, but that's a different conversation. And build a system around that, you know, whatever you choose to do, and focus on it, and that process of refining and learning just on one chart, yeah, might help. But bearing in mind, he's very, very new, and
There is no second best.
it's
There is no second best.
maybe not appropriate for people who have been here for 4 years. But yeah, that's how I'm certainly trying to reduce my time at the PC a little bit. and focus on other things. Insane alt moves this weekend? Yeah, and that's the thing, is when people say, why do you trade alts predominantly, despite the fact you're called BTC fucking Charlie, it's because of those moves, and it's because if you are, managing your risk, you can often make very, very good returns, even with smaller accounts and minimal drawdowns. The Michael Saylor notification, yeah, I love it. Personally, I think it's great, hence why I've got it on. So thanks for the follows, guys. Every time you follow, Michael Saylor says there is no second best, just in case you didn't know. How do you use the spaghetti chart and why? I mean, I literally use it to look at low time frame discrepancies. So like you got waves, right? Waves great, like live example. Let's go and have a peep at waves. Let's see if we can kind of not force a trade, because you never want to force a trade, but if waves is at an interesting level, it's probably going to be a terrible example. Let's move it up here. Just because this is like my OCD, right? If I'm looking at trading, it has to be in the in-play basket. Yeah, so maybe a bit late on waves. I can't really justify jumping in on that right here, right now. But perhaps what that does for me is it puts waves on my list, which it's just done, and I might now say, well, okay, if we come back down here, or if we flick, let's say here, if we get a simple move down, and then we're still showing a lot of relative strength there, then maybe I can justify a position with a stop under here. Now I'm very, very quick to cut positions, and a lot of what I do probably relies more on execution than it does analysis, in terms of once I'm in a position, I'm quick to get out if my trade thesis is wrong. So my win rate is low. Paper trade your scalps. I'm going to constantly unfollow. Oh, I've drawn this fucking terribly. But you kind of get the point. Very much on the fly. And what I don't necessarily want to do is jump straight in. If we'd have marketed in there because we saw a nice little pump there, then under my rules, I'd be out of that trade already. I do not want to suffer, a sort of 1 and a bit % instant reversal. I try and manage my average entry, quite aggressively, I would suggest. But hopefully you can see like a pseudo live example of, okay, well we found a bit of relative strength in the form of waves. It's quite standout. So if you find like it's 5 second sharp, you're finding a bottom in terms of this rotation, waves is looking very, very strong. Very, very strong. Good morning, Trade Fan. So TradeBat is the legend who did the intro song. That's good because you can always short it higher. Yeah, exactly. Everything is going up just so we can short it higher. That's exactly what's happening. Sorry. The EMA thing indicator recolors. But I don't really want to sit and just watch waves 1 minute chart, but hopefully that gives you an example of kind of what I try to do in terms of chasing. Now I have things like CryptoWatch desktop open as well. I tend to have my plans laid out and preset alts that I'm looking at on very low time frames to see what is going on. So let's say, let's go back to ETH. ETH as an example. If I've drawn some meme lines and I'm saying, okay, well, I want to see a reaction down here. You know, I want this to be available to me on low time frame, and I want to see what is going on when we start getting to that level. So putting an alert down here as an example, and then quite actively monitoring what's going on, yeah, would be my kind of way of approaching things. And that's in these conditions, right? And that's because in these conditions I do not feel comfortable swing longing from here. I would feel comfortable building a couple of swing short positions, but I kind of haven't got any signals to do it just yet. So for me, I will stick to rotational alt plays. Does that make sense? And I think on stream I've been stopped out of my only other position, which was a short on Alice. RIP. So when someone asked me at the start what is my position, I'm technically short. I was technically short Alice. I think I'm still in it, just. Is Bitcoin gaining support at 23k or not confirmed yet? I mean, this just looks like noise. I wouldn't call this, you know, on a very low time frames. If you're saying 23k, it's kind of not enough. Well, some nice divs on a 30-minute time frame. Well, maybe we see a little push up. A meme diagonal. But yeah, if you go higher, we're kind of testing that 50 level underside test as we're heading down, rejecting from 24.3, ETH in a macro bearish retest as well. Yeah, for me, I don't want to just blindly long here, and I will keep playing rotations, squeezing late shorts. Yep. But the rotations on alts have just been beautiful. You know, even this morning. It's, yeah. I got stopped out obviously, but up here somewhere. But yeah, really nice. As long as it keeps moving, I don't really care what it's doing. I think that's the beauty of being able to trade both ways and not just be a buy and hodler. I think that's what really attracted me to trading in the first place, with a background in essentially not investing, but certainly valuing companies and pseudo kind of investing, I guess, buying and selling companies, M&A activities, etc. Can you please tell us about the VRPR? Yeah, I can't even bloody say it, mate. VRVP. All it's doing is taking the volume, like, let's say, well, there's this much volume, however much of that is, there, that has been traded at that price. So it's saying that, you know, the main volume has been transacted around here. Now you can get a lot more complicated with it. People talk about filling voids and all this kind of stuff, like there, down there. So if you start zooming in and out, this profile changes dramatically. So typically when you see a chart that goes like that, boom, you know, there is going to be nothing. You're going to have like that, basically. Yeah, it kind of seems like an interesting battle of momentum at the moment. Maybe it's the last rallies before a bit of a deeper pullback. You're looking at some sort of 4-hour divs and things like Ape. Again, it's not the cleanest, but still signalling some weakness as ETH is setting up for a fairly large rejection.
There is no second best. There is no second best crypto asset.
Ooh. Have a look at traditional. I don't want to get on my high horse about the rant of traditional and BTC and crypto, because frankly it's it always annoys me. But yeah, this is quite a bullish start to the week, isn't it? Is anyone in any live positions at the moment? Cool. Look at waves now. Look at it. Sorry, I'm flicking a little bit because we obviously talked about waves. Yeah, so we'd have got our meme retest bought up. Scalping ape. Lovely. You're the one that's on the other side of my trades, are you? Mr. Solanum. Me against you. Ape 1v1. Long A from 96.68. Put them into H bar. They're quite different tickers, mate. How did that one happen? Just took profit on a so long, 1.4k gain, nice. Happy days. Short on near from 4.7. I actually don't know the price of near, so oh, that's a rather nice entry, isn't it? Yeah, Near's had a really nice little 4.7, yeah, that is literally the Pico top. You crashed the market. So if anyone's long Near, digital pyramids you guys go to, or girl, or they. Don't want to offend anyone. Short from 24.5, nice, nice. Oh, bloody in silico terminal, that's how you do it. Be the wick you want to see. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, there are some really nice, like, potential long setups. Bring. What was that? I don't know what that noise means. Maybe it means I won a trade somewhere or something, or I've gambled something correctly. Link looks quite nice. Yeah. Key level, easy flip, 50 RSI reset. 4 hour, bang, done. I didn't take an entry, but I would like to see it on lower time frame gain some form of strength because it gives you a very clean invalidation. It does tend to help though if you actually add it to be able to see it. That is the only thing I wish TradingView had better control of. Oh, it's there. It's there. I kind of wish that I could just like click this and go to the chart instead of find it down here and then load it up and faff around with it. ETH is bussing. For real, no cap. Yeah. Kind of seeing the divs play out. But gonna be interesting. Okay, now. Traditional just doesn't care. Max bid. That's the new liquidation sound. Yeah, that's it. It's over. My first liquidation live on stream. Arthur is emailing me now. You can click the line and go to the chart. Well, I suppose it's a bit... My being a boomer. If this actually works. PFD, a W, a Xenon. Are you having me on? I think you might be. Anyway, you don't need to watch Boomer Charlie. Faff around. Yeah, Link high time frame's quite nice. Rune we went over on last stream and sort of talked through the logic of essentially playing higher time frame market structure now. Again, no LARP, I didn't take this trade. I certainly didn't long in here, I wasn't around. But it's a good example of just, you know, higher time frame bias of, well, actually, this is all you need. Not particularly difficult. Flip a key level on what was extreme volume, and which is what this green candle indicates. You go to lower time frames, obviously you wouldn't be taking a trade off a 4 hour necessarily. Let's go 15 minute. Yeah, quite clear. Breakout trade. Nice and easy. Not like I caught it, so it obviously wasn't that easy. I can check the line and go to the chart, I swear, it works for me. If I got some like grandad proof option on it or something. Because that would be, that would genuinely make my life quite a bit easier. But yeah, we'll maybe pick that up off stream if you want to share some wisdom as alpha. Wilder was really good to me during the weekend. Wilder? Do you mean wild? As in Wilder World?
There's no second best crypto asset.
I actually got that on the list. Yeah, I did very well out of Wild, personally. Why am I doing it on this chart? Good God. I'd revive KuCoin to buy some. Yeah, that's not bad, is it? I mean, a lot of these, like, I mean, I was selling Wild at $6 or something. Yeah, there you go. It's absolute beast. Absolute beast. But I mean, this is, you know, this is what most altcoins that saw the 2021 cycle now look like. You know, the classic, we're now all celebrating X% pumps while we're 93, 95% down. It's interesting. Yeah, 2x off the lows. And this is the thing, is that a lot of people are kind of saying that, okay, well, we've had those huge drawdowns on alts, we've had a load of forced selling, we've got all these big things that, you know, how much worse can it get? And they're using like a narrative to say that we can't go down any further. And I find that whole process and argument really odd, because on the other side of the coin, you have things that are, how do I put it, like wildly outlandish, like projects trying to raise valuations at $2 billion for what is effectively a white paper, a team of people, a vision, and potentially some vaguely tested products. And you think like, well, for me personally, until we start really slashing that whole speculative premium on non-proved, non-established projects, and, you know, founders start losing hope a little bit, you know, I don't understand how everyone can be so convinced. But my prerogative, I guess, to have my own opinion. And that's not saying, you know, I think it's all going to dump to fucking zero in the next couple of days. I just think that if you want to be investing in this space for the long run, you kind of have to be hoping that there is going to be a bit of a more brutal, potentially, leg down. And I guess the way I saw it put by Pentoshi was probably one of the best ways, which is you have this huge like price capitulation, which has been pretty fucking brutal, right? Yeah, maybe we have a little move up and then we carry on. But what then we have is time capitulation. I'm not saying it's 4K, but just follow the illustration through, where the market's quite boring, quite flat, and most alts bleed out. And when most alts are bleeding out and valuations go down to quote-unquote reasonable levels, that's where you can start taking advantage of, you know, no one else wants to buy. Okay, we'll load up to when everyone wants to buy, and then start fucking selling and rinse and repeat. You know, I personally think that there's quite a lot of hope left, despite the fact, you know, even these moves are relatively weak compared to other moves up on BTC, which, you know, ultimately does sadly dictate the flow of the rest of the market. And you can see that, right? That is what this chart tells you. As soon as Bitcoin starts dropping 0.5%, every single altcoin almost entirely will drop with it by a higher proportion, i.e. they are beta assets. And if it's not dropping, you probably want to be paying attention to it. How much worse can it get? Light cigarette takes one drag. Stick around, kid. Yeah. I believe Sol will hit $500 next cycle. Okay. Name, I will put my entire net worth into Sol right now, if you can tell me why Sol needs to be $500 for it to work, and not, whatever it is, 42. Why do you think it's going to get to $500? Sol will be dead next cycle? Wow. I definitely don't agree with that. Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano, XRP, the only coins that have lasted. It's fucking depressingly true, that is, isn't it? I mean, to an extent, right? Doge has lasted, which again is a meme coin. I'm sure there are plenty of other ones from the 2017 cycle, but yeah. One with Sam, yeah. Can't be dead if it's turned off. Be a new coin that will be better than Sol next cycle. I think so. I mean, I think, you know, if you look at rotations, so there's probably like there's probably a beta list of rotations, right? So you've got like the layer 1 trade, which I think is probably gonna always be there to some extent, purely because when the speculation bubble starts growing massively, people are going to want to go into the assets on each of these chains, and you therefore need to actually buy it. And people aren't going to be incentivized to necessarily sell it, because that's going to be going up as well. So you kind of have this duality of like and speculate and gamble more, blah blah blah. You've got exchange tokens, which just gradually appreciate, and they're one of my like stable pegs of, well, actually, if volume is coming into the market, you know, FTT, BNB, etc., you know, DITO, you know, you want to be basically taking a slice of exchange volume, so they're always really nice. But I think generally what's going to outperform most of these are new coins, you know, the new categories. I don't necessarily know what that is yet. Maybe it's things like social tokens. You know, we saw even recently things like move to earn, play to earn, you know, they sort of been around, I guess. The play to earn bit, pseudo been there in 2017, but the rest of it, you know, particularly move to earn, that whole phase of, you know, everything was move to earn a few months ago. There will be something like that, and something like that will outperform existing assets, I believe, massively. Sol XRP. Solve the XRP of next cycle. Wow. I mean, that's savage. Don't let Sammy say that. I'll buy all the Sol you have right now at $42.60, and then you can fuck off. Would probably be the response. Bitcoin's the only good crypto. Even if it's still a gamble, the rest are playing slots at the casino. I kind of disagree. I think there are some genuinely good use cases for like 1 to 5% of crypto. The difficulty is that the 1 to 5% of actually genuinely good use cases and reasons for having a token, reasons for, you know, needing essentially your own form of currency, yeah, those tend to be the least sexy in terms of their appeal to general public. So it's typically the Ponzi's and the memes that A, get the most attention, and B, have the most pumponomics. So you've got this strange dichotomy of actually the things that are probably going to be of the highest benefit are the least sexy. So hey, young greasy. What do I think of BNB being 4 digits? 90% of these coins are scams. So 4-digit BNB, why not? It can all happen one day, right? And don't rule it out. 90% of these coins are scams. 100% of these coins are scams. What are you on about? What are you on about? Everything's a scam. Even fiat, like money, the whole system is a scam. If you want to be really cynical. So don't start thinking of it as scams. Start thinking of it all as one big currency of just one very simple thing, and it is time. That's all it is. You're just trading for money, for time doing things fun with people you like, freedom, you know, going where you want, when you want, eating what you want, doing things, you know, living life a little bit. Like, that's what it fucking is. Whether it's pounds, dollars, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Inu, fucking, it's all the same shit. Can you please tell us what daily routine check for a day trader is? I mean, it really depends on your trading style, and it kind of depends on you. Everyone has their own personal way. Now, I jack up to the tits on cheap coffee and caffeine, which helps you stay a bit focused and gives you a bit of energy, etc. It's scan markets, which again will come down to how you want to view the markets. High time frame levels, particularly on BTC, because what I'm doing is trading alt beta, and if let's say Bitcoin looks like this, and it's had a pump, and we've taken these highs here, and we're coming back down, and I want to be very conscious of this level to get out of any alt longs. I want to be very conscious of this level for any potential shorts that I'm in. So if we start moving above, I do not want to be on the short side of an altcoin while Bitcoin is flying, and vice versa. I do not want to be on the long side of an altcoin while Bitcoin is breaking down from a mini range / distribution. So it really depends on how you trade, and it really depends on what you are looking for, and obviously time frame as well. If you're down on the 1 minute chart, that approach probably isn't going to be. If you're down on the 1 minute Bitcoin chart trading order flow, it's probably not that relevant to you. But if you do what I do, then yes. Thoughts on FTX lag? I mean, I'm not really qualified to give a useful view on that, and that's largely because I trade on FTX and I trade on Delta, so I've got spot bags, or I had spot bags on Binance, and that's all I ever really used Binance for, and cashing out. So it's quite a difficult one for me to say, well, my experience of trading on FTX versus Binance, well, I haven't really got any. Not Binance futures anyway. The repo is written in Python. That's what I've read. Don't know. Hopefully I've answered a couple of questions today, guys. Keep them coming. It makes my job a lot easier when I'm slightly hungover, and I don't have too much to talk about in terms of more than what we've already gone over, in terms of ETH positioning, general market, a couple of specific alts that I'm looking at. I'm trying to just use rotational plays. I tried an Alice short, which saved by the bell. I'm not quite out of just yet. I just think that this has quite a lot in terms of momentum, shifting to the downside, clean level. No, I didn't short up here. I'm literally short from average just in here, with a stop up here. Have you tried any of the on-chain derivatives, DYDX, GMX, Mango? Yes, but with very, very small size, and I didn't like it. The thing for me is that I don't have to be on-chain rather. I don't have to be off the centralized exchanges. So, for me, it doesn't really have a major sense of appeal. I have a hard time believing that the bomb's in until we see that excruciating 3% range of death on most alts that lasts for months. Yeah, that's exactly it. Genuinely. So there will be a time, and I will guarantee you guys that this will come, and this will be the time where I go and get a job at McDonald's, because I see if I can have my old job back from 20 years ago when I worked there when I was at sixth form, and say I cannot fucking trade this, because you will look at a chart like this and every single fucking coin, apart from save maybe one, will basically be in that little range there, and it will be painful. The reason that alts are so forgiving is because typically the rotations are so wide, right? You can catch a 10% move with a 1% risk, and you don't need to be a genius to kind of to do that. But when alts are just sat in a fucking 1-2% range for an entire week, it's going to be excruciating. And I'm not being a naysayer or a doom caller or anything like that. I keep saying the real bear market is when volatility dies, not price. So I completely agree with you. A7, JD. Oh, fucking hell, mate. Can you please get a better name? I know mine's not great, but no. Oh, fair enough. Yeah. But no, I do agree with you. I genuinely. Volatility.
There's no second best
is
crypto asset.
the lifeblood of trading. What would have to happen for you to consider the start of a prolonged rally as opposed to a bear market rally? Hit new all-time highs. No, I'm joking. What indicator is it? This is... I did a thread on it the other day, mate. I'll put it in chat in a second. I didn't do a thread. I just tweeted some useless... Well, it's not useless. I said if you're interested in trading alts, trade these, or look at these things rather. Let me chuck it in chat for you. It is essentially my trading setup. It's gonna come up with some shit. Bear with me 1 second, callers. It's gonna come up with some shit. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, and there you go. I get to hear my wonderful dulcet tones. There you go. So there's some stuff in there you can sort of peruse at your own leisure. But there's my spaghetti template, which does change daily, as you saw earlier. You know, chucking waves on it, chucking various bits off. I will take that duplicate of link out when I can be bothered. Yeah, back to your question, Born. It's difficult because, you know, maybe I am LARPing as a macro expert, but I do fully believe the bearish macro outlook, despite not being a qualified economist. But I personally don't believe that you need to, you know, to be able to say that I think things look bearish short term. What I would like to see, if this was truly a crypto bull run, is decorrelation. Is Bitcoin pumping, like across the board, and crypto being, you know, seen as a narrative starting to develop around crypto being, or Bitcoin in particular being, an inflation hedge, and you know you start seeing Bitcoin just completely decorrelate from traditional, and that to me would be hugely bullish because you would get, you know, rather large inflows. But I can't, you know, my probabilistic view of that happening is 0.05% to maybe 1%, right? It's fucking tiny. Absolutely tiny. When will microcaps capture your attention? Time capitulation phase? Yeah, that's it. I mean, the thing is, for me at the moment, is what is a microcap? Right, to all of you guys in the chat, right, there's 100 of you right now, what is a microcap market cap? Right, what size market cap do you consider to be a microcap? $5 million or less than 10 million. Less than $1 million, $50. I'm all in if the market cap's $50, mate. Less than 10 million. Okay, so fairly consistent. 5 million or less than 10 million, right? Less than 50 mil. Less than 50 mil, less than 5 mil. Yeah, less than 50 mil. See, I was kind of hoping that someone would come out with that kind of view on a microcap. Top of 2017 bubble, I was considering less than 20 mil small. Pretty sure I was trying to pick up alts for sub 500k a year later. Yes, and to be fair, Babunar, I think that maybe both of us are a little, or have a slight disadvantage. You know, people talk about essentially bear market PTSD, where you can't hold positions and you know, I am speaking for myself here. You can't swing them because you just have this constant need to take profit and can't adjust, blah blah blah. But actually, having seen those wild valuations go from, like you say, 20 mil to basically 500k projects, you know, having seen that, there is part of me that expects the same process this time. Now, the counter to that is we have seen wider adoption, we have seen countries, we have seen companies, we have seen wider adoption. It does not matter how you frame that.
There is no second
Yeah,
best.
we have
There is
seen
no
that
second best
second
crypto
time.
asset.
So, you know, whether the view of valuations in terms of, you know, 500k market cap projects that are actually legitimate with good backing, building good products that, you know, have treasuries that will last more than 3 months, that they've actually properly managed is a thing. I don't know.
There is no second best crypto asset.
But yeah, it does make me smile, because my old view was, you know, I didn't want to put money in anything that was more than 5 million that I wanted to hold for, you know, long periods of time, unless there was a really good reason. Now, I did invest in quite a few things that were above that in terms of market cap, but it was kind of a threshold that, yeah, 5 million is, you know, or it used to be, quite a lot. There is no meme inflation hedge. Real hedge is making a shit ton while everything pumps before the meme inflation hits. Inflation always there on longer time frames. Yeah, I agree. It is quite difficult at the moment to find that hedge against inflation. You know, if everything is inflating at the rates that they say they are, and they're not super delayed in terms of reporting, etc., etc., and you know, you can tell when you go to the shops, when you go to the fuel pumps, etc., prices have gone up dramatically. Has the value of your cash in the bank gone up as much? I expect not. But yeah, I find it interesting that, you know, the range that people consider to be micro caps. And to be honest with you, I'm still looking for micro caps. I'm still looking for fundamental plays. And the reason that I'm doing that is because, you know, I've got a database. Well, not a database, it's an Excel sheet, because obviously I'm a boomer, right? I've got an Excel sheet with every project that I've looked at, why I like it, why I don't like it, what might make me flip into, yeah, this is a long-term bag, this is something that I'm looking at, you know, for this play. If X becomes a good narrative, then this could slot in there. So kind of basket analysis, kind of helps fight FOMO as well. If you look at something being plastered all over crypto Twitter, and then you go back and you go, oh, I didn't invest in that because I thought it was a piece of shit because of XYZ, and you go, yeah, either old me was wrong or old me didn't see something. You know, the Ponzi-nomics, actually the tokenomics were great and I overlooked that. Okay, well, learning from, you know, for next time, essentially. So yeah, I'm still looking. I will still. I want to have, when we go into a period of essentially what I think will be, you know, a macro accumulation period, and it will probably be a year or 6 months long. I want to have a list of pre-populated projects that I'm like, I cannot wait to buy these at these levels. Because then the whole process becomes so much more controlled. And it becomes so much easier. I think XO said it, the lower prices go, the more bullish I get. Because you're not going to buy a 100 million market cap project and get 100x out of it. You might, but it's very fucking unlikely. And the other side of it is, if you start buying something at a 500k market cap, you know, that's got a much better chance, if it's a legitimate project with good Ponzi-nomics, etc., etc., in the right conditions, to give you 100x, which is just a meme return number, right? But it's kind of what you play alts for. Just checked for 5 million market cap on CoinGecko. I'm on page 12. Yeah. Have a list of coins to accumulate on spot through this winter with trading profits. Yeah, nice. I mean, I've always traded and invested. I mean, I'm not really investing on too much spots at the moment. I do have a few bags, but what was your best buy last bear market that did well in the bull market? The best buy that I actually held, or the best buy that would have made me a billionaire? Because SHIB was the best buy. I think I stuck 2, maybe 3 ETH in SHIB in like the first few days. Sorry you're late, don't worry chat. Don't worry, you did miss the intro though, and the intro was epic. What did you buy at Best Buy? What do you mean? Yeah, so I think the 2 or 3 ETH I put into SHIB would have been like $1 billion. So, you know, that was by far the best return that I think you could have ever gotten in crypto. But for me, probably the best one that I bought, held, and I've still got some of is Rune, and that did very, very well for me. I mean, my initial buys, I paper handed a little bit. Oh, this is FTX. What was it before? It wasn't Ether Delta. It was that other shitty exchange. A terrible. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, I think Rune was one of my better ones. I over allocated to Tomo, which was one of my. I actually thought Tomo was going to do. Tomo FTX. This is. That's bad, isn't it, boys? Yeah, I massively over allocated to Tomo. I owned quite a lot of this at one point, but it still did well. It just didn't quite do as well as basically everything else in the portfolio. Where do you look for promising microcaps, Scandexes? Yeah. So there are a few ways of doing
There's
it.
no second best crypto asset.
But I mean, one of our friends in the chat has already said, you know, CoinGecko, go and have a look and just pour through them. You can honestly go through 100 projects in an hour because 90% of them will just be instant fucking garbage that has been recycled by so many different things. And you know, and as soon as you start doing it, so as soon as you start building essentially your own matrix for establishing whether a project is good or not, you know, question 1, let's say, do you want to invest in anonymous teams, right? If the answer is no, because they, you know, don't hold themselves accountable, it's far easier to track down, you know, fully doxed teams should they potentially rug the project, or your risk of rug is much, much lower, supposedly. You know, if that's your view, then you'll take out 50% at least of projects instantly. If you only want to be looking for projects that are, you know, sub $1 million market cap and have more than 50k daily trading volume, you know, your list again is probably going to be quite small. So if you start thinking about it like that, and you start developing your framework for finding things, or for narrowing things down rather, you know, you can quickly get yourself to a state where in 1 minute flat you can establish if it's worth reading or even opening the fucking white paper. Didn't expect me to say SHIB. Yeah, I mean, I literally bought the one with SHIB before it went like 2 billion X or something stupid. So, but I sold it for like fuck all. I think it was a net loss. if you include gas. I mean, I bought some later on, made some money out of it, but yeah, and please do not feel sorry for me in any way, shape or form, because I did very, very well out of the bull run. And, you know, I was very lucky to be a part of it, very, very lucky. A lot of people will, you know, mistake luck and skill, and the bull market really does hide that. A good quote is, you know, you can see who's naked when the tide runs out. And, you know, I think we've seen quite a lot of people who didn't take any profits, who can't trade both ways, who don't have systems for different market conditions, just, yeah, get royally fucked. And most of them have been funds, unironically. I need to start researching again. Made a decent amount on small cap POW coins. Also meant to focus was away from beginning with the DeFi narrative, like Ether at the end, etc. Yeah, it is. I think it's not important not to go deep down a particular rabbit hole. I think it's just, for me personally, like now I'm in a bit of a different position. I've, you know, luckily got a bit more trading capital behind me, so I can expand a little bit more in terms of, okay, I might want to invest in an NFT platform, I might want to invest in DeFi, I might want to have some exposure to privacy coins. I don't. I think fucking that cycle's done, which kind of leads to your XMR question. I think that as a cycle generally is done, even though there's probably a reasonable setup on a... I mean, it's like a lot of alts at the moment, isn't it? Just grinding up. You know, if you want to play a market structure, play. Yeah, that was probably the test there. But yeah, I think for me, because DeFi is a really good example of where if you had spaghetti and you had Wi-Fi on, I think it was it 2020 or 2021? Let's go to the Wi-Fi chart. Because Wi-Fi down here, I'll never forget this, where there were a few chads who just giggle along the shit out of it, bearing in mind that, like, you know, everyone thought Wi-Fi was dead and the DeFi was dead and blah blah blah, and that this was the run, which, you know, it was pretty incredible, to be fair. I remember my friend saying buy Wi-Fi at like $500, and I was like, nah, it sounds shit, to be honest, mate. Don't understand it. Again, you get things wrong, you learn, you write it down, you say, spend more time understanding these things. But when on spaghetti, essentially everything DeFi related just went, you know, there's Bitcoin, everything DeFi related just went like that, and everything else just went like that. You see a narrative formed, and to me, the big thing that I learned way back here was submit to the narrative, which is something that Hasaka keeps tweeting. You know, submit to the narrative and kind of give in to what the market is telling you. So yeah, I think shutting yourself off to things is a bad idea. Having thesis and saying, for example, I think privacy has had its run forever and I do not think it will get another run, is fine. I'm not going to invest in it. But if I start seeing on this, or on a bigger version of spaghetti that I've got, or on a tracker that I've got in Excel, and I see privacy is starting to outperform as a sector, then that's not going to stop me from trading it. It's not going to stop me from submitting to that narrative, if that makes sense. And equally, going deep down a rabbit hole and positioning yourself as, you know, a quote-unquote expert in a field isn't a bad thing either. I was very early on NFTs and could have used that to just pivot to NFT Charlie, and I probably would have had a more fun time on Twitter, because generally traders get a bit of grief, whereas NFT people are actually all quite nice. But alas. So yes, being a subject matter expert in a single thing is not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah guys, I've been rambling for a good hour and 20 now. So if anyone's got any last tidbits, last questions, I think what I'm going to do is just have a swig of coffee. I might play the intro song again while I slurp. And if you've got anything that you want to chat about, just let me know. I'll be 1 second.
He's BTC Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but hardly. He's BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie.
There is no second
And
best.
when trading
There's no
gets
second best
hard
crypto
and
asset.
support starts to lean, search Charlie.
Mixed reactions from chat there. Definitely some mixed reactions. Anything between this is the bottom, this is the top. I love it. Cheers, TradeBat, for doing it. Cancelling my Paragon sub. Yeah, mate, I'll refund you, it's fine. Lemon's out. Excellent. Everyone's the mass migration of people. Yeah, it's epic. It's epic. But yeah, that is going to be my my intro song from now on. So, you know, your favourite crypto Twitters, or your favourite trader's favourite trader, I bet doesn't have their own intro song. I feel like a WWF like wrestler. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm like The Rock coming in to a stream with my own song. So yeah, cheers, TradeBat. Can you send that to me so I can use it as my morning alarm? No. You'll probably see it. Well, it'll be available in the replay, I guess. So if you really want to steal it, then go ahead. What time crypto trading start for US time? Same as NY exchange opening time? What do you mean, mate? It was like 2:30. So it was you can see it like back here. So it was well that's me being redacted. So it's 2:30 my time, which is UK time, or 1:30 UCT UTC. Have to? What do you mean, what's have to? Definitely cancelling now. Nightingale's gone. Well, it's nice to have you, Nightingale. I'll probably drop in voice chat actually, if you guys are about. After this. 2:30, homie. Yeah, but, right, I'll tell you why it's 2:30 and not 2:30, because if you say 2:30 in England and there is a man over the age of 30, he will say, time to see the dentist. 2:30. 2:30? Yeah, that's a real thing. Maybe it's a terrible British joke. Yeah, Yeah. Right, so boys and girls, if there's no more questions or anything like that, then what I will do is I will love you and leave you. Thank you all for tuning in, for following the stream, for signing up with my reflink to Delta, and throwing millions of dollars a day at it, at these wonderful markets. It's very kind of you. Very quick recap, I guess, is pivotal level for ETH. Not really interested in BTC. We run some alts and we play the spaghetti as usual. We've got a little bit of a bullish bias on Stinky Linky. I didn't actually talk about LTC because I've missed my own little system, but potentially short play. Not yet, no signal, but nice level to short from. Rune we covered off from previous stream, and Alice I'm about to be stopped out on live in front of a studio audience. So yeah, all in all, not bad. Not bad. And of course, how to use spaghetti. How you cycle through, how I cycle through it. Or how I add them. I mean literally, I would pretend there's some secret juju, but what I posted earlier in the chat on my Twitter is how to get like every perp, and you start looking through some of that. There are a couple of other things that I use to scan, but once you've got everything here, you can start going through and start marking up levels on charts. You can start building that view of what you want to look at and when you might want to look at certain coins. So yeah, thank you everyone for being here, and have a wonderful week. Au revoir.
He's BTC Charlie with his linguini charting. He loses sometimes, but
There's no second best crypto asset.
BTC Charlie. But now he's GBP Charlie. It doesn't matter what he's charting. His trading is tough, but it's not all that bad with Charlie. He's got memes in the morning and more in the evening. It's Charlie. And when trading gets hard and support starts to lean, search Charlie.